Yo, what's up, Peapod? It's your boy Shaun P and your girl Key, and we are the leaders and the generals of the illest team known to man, the Purefoys, aka your family's favorite family. And you are now live with Shaun.
And Key.
And today is going to be your one stop shop information for parenting, for what else do we do? Uh,
Marriage.
Marriage, uh, women stuff, and man stuff. And today we're going to be talking to the ladies, um, and we're going to be discussing a very important topic. Um, and as soon as we share with everyone, oh, we got a stowaway.
We're
Yes, ma'am.
live, okay?
Go, boo, go. Thank you.
Close the door.
Close
Hey,
the
hey,
door.
hey, hey, hey. Close the door.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always one kid.
Children.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, we're live. Key is going to be
Hey,
on
Jeannie. Hey, Bree Smith.
on the phone, just responding to texts and whatever messages is coming on to the chat. Definitely pose some questions. If you're on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, share us with everyone. But we really wanted to be more intentional this season because we're in season 2 of Live with Shaun and Key, and we just wanted to make it more purposeful, give you guys some actual tips that you can like write down and keep with you, and share it with your friends. And we definitely want, we because we're all about families, and we definitely want families to thrive. We want marriages to thrive. We want parents to thrive,
Yes.
and we want, of course, the Word of God to thrive as well. So share, 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 and give us. I'm going to share it too, just so that I'm not being a hater or not being a team player. So give me 1 second. Copy link. I'm going to share on my timeline. Oh, we live now.
We love no.
And I'm going to paste up, paste. And boom. So, in our daily lives, just in the people that we meet and the people that we come across, we are always running into people of various walks of lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, like family members, co-workers, the whole kit and caboodle. And it's always, how do you guys make it work? Um, how do you, what am I doing wrong? All sorts of things. And we definitely, it's a billion reasons why relationships work. There's a billion reasons why relationships don't work. But we kind of like just did some research and went into the scriptures and definitely tried to boil it down to 5 main reasons why women can't keep a man. And we're also going to be talking to the fellas on next week. So, fellas, if you're curious as to why you can't keep a good woman, you want to tune in next week. But let me do the caveat of saying, like, nothing works if you don't have a relationship with the Lord, right? If you don't have a relationship with God, then like nothing that you do with in any type of relationship is ever going to work, right? And like we're like firsthand um, receivers and like doers of that knowledge.
I feel like, though, that it might work, but there will always be, like, there will always be tension. Like, there will always be like.
Give me an example of a couple who has like no relationship with God that they work.
There are tons of couples that.
Like
Um, Well, I don't know their names.
Exactly. And I'm not even talking about, I'm talking about, when I say no relationship with the Lord, I'm talking about like no moral compass. Like no type, no sense of like there is a God and that, we're married according to these things. Because, I mean, I believe that marriage is, a direct reflection of Christ's love for the church.
Yes.
And if you're not able to duplicate that, or if you're not able to replicate that, then you're just headed down a slippery slope to loneliness, and you're going to be by yourself soon. Um, and of course, there's exception to the rules. There's no definite thing, but these are our 5 reasons why you can't keep a man. All right. So the first reason why you can't keep a man is because you don't want to submit. You don't want to submit.
That could be one of the hardest ones.
And it is super hard. Um, I feel like a lot of women, because times are a changing.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of women, they want to lead their men. Well, this is actually your point. This is the point that what did you mean by that? You said that you want to lead your man instead of following after him.
Yeah. So, like, a lot of women, I feel like sometimes they say like, it's your way, it's my way or the highway. Like,
Mm-hmm.
They want to make all the final. They want to have the final say so in every aspect. They are, yeah, they just want to have the final say so. I don't know what else to say about.
Where do you think that comes from, though? Or like why? Well, I'm gonna tell you
It's
where
a
it comes from.
control thing too.
It's a control thing.
I
Why?
think a lot of times, I don't know. Sometimes you grow up with that. Like it could come from generation to generation. Like I know, like my grandmother was very controlling, so it passed down to my mom. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
so there are definitely certain aspects that come in generational.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I also see that too. Like I feel like all of us, and we just heard a pastor talking about this during a revival. Says like the tendencies of the parents become the traits of the children, right? So like if you come from a matriarchal family where Big Mama was like the end all be all, she made all the rules.
Mm-hmm.
As a young lady, you grow up thinking that that's how
It's
it's supposed to be, and you develop that in your spirit, and you also attract men who you can basically, I don't want to say dominate or control,
Mm-hmm.
but like you kind of like wear the pants in the family. You kind of like
But sometimes you don't, and when you don't, that's when you clash.
Yeah. And definitely, if you're going to meet someone that's going to go head to head with you and not submit to what you're saying, then of course it's going to cause friction. But let's go to the Bible and see what the Bible says. So in Ephesians 5:33, it says, "However, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband." Oops, that was the wrong one.
Yes, right here.
Oh, here we go. My bad. Ephesians 5:22 and 22 through 33. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, his body, and himself is its Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit in everything to their husbands. Husbands, love your wife. Well, we just stop because we're not talking about husbands right now. We're talking about wives, so we're going to stop right there. All right? So, the Bible says that we need to submit ourselves to, that women should submit themselves to their husbands, because that's what the church is doing unto Christ. Like I said, if you don't have a relationship with the Lord, then 9 times out of 10, your relationship is not going to, it's not going to have any foundation. It's not going to have the perfect model of, how it should be, which is why when you look to your grandmother, or you look to your auntie and see how they ran their households, a lot of times, or in some cases, it might not be the perfect picture. Mm-hmm. So you're getting a wrong example, and then once you see the wrong example and you think that it's right, you begin to duplicate it, and then when you have kids, Ariana sees you running the household, da 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 da, and then her and Raylan have it in like, oh well, we got to control our men, and that's not how it
Supposed to be.
how it's supposed to be. But there's also, it goes even like further back than that, like in Genesis. And I read this and it blew my mind because sometimes it kind of rears its little ugly head in relationships where like women want to like control men and dominate them and like be the man basically. But in Genesis, this is after Eve was tempted by the devil and ate the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Um, he said to the woman, he said, I will surely multiply your pain and childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. So what is that basically saying is like, it's already, since you've done this thing, it's an innate sense or an innate spirit for women to have this desire to be the man, but God has orchestrated our lives so that the man is the head of the woman, as is Christ is the head of the church. So there's always going to be that underlining dynamic, and it's up to women to really try to put that in check, that God has placed this man in your life to be your protector and to be your covering and to be your leader. So if you can't get with that, then of course you're going to be breaking rank, and it's going to cause friction in your relationship, and the relationship is going to be over. All right. Anything else you got to add to that?
Nope.
All right, moving on. You want to bring this one in?
2, insecurities.
Insecurities. So that's actually like a big one. So when we talking about being insecure, what are we talking about?
Oh. We're talking about, you did this one. I just did this one, so you gotta start that one.
So when we talk about being insecure is like you're not feeling good enough, you're always comparing yourself to like other women, and like, you don't feel sexy, like you don't feel like, there's a laundry list of things that people can feel insecure about: their looks, their height, their weight, their skin tone, their hair, their clothes, their car, whatever the case is. There are things that we are insecure with. However, insecurity can be like such a relationship killer, because that's a fight that a man can never win.
And we're not talking about like temporary insecurities, like I'm pregnant, I feel, like, right? We're not talking about temporary insecurities, because like.
Well, I mean, it could that can hinder a relationship too.
Well, I feel like.
But we're talking, I mean, even though that can be a factor.
Okay.
But at the same time, we're talking more so like your overall demeanor, right? I think that's what you were trying to say.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so that we're clear. Right? So, what insecurity does, it creates trust issues within the relationship. And it's kind of like, like men, we're attracted to like confidence, and like we're actually repelled by insecurity. So like if you're always talking about how you're too fat, or how you're not tall enough, or your boobs are not big enough, or whatever the case is, it can be a downer, because it's like, what can I, as your protection, as your head, as your leader, what can I do in order to combat that? What can I do to fix it? And in a lot of cases, it's nothing, because the issue is really with her, and it's not even really an issue, but it's like your mindset. I have an example. I don't know if you have any examples of like how a relationship was hindered by insecurity, but like I used to date this girl, and she wasn't thin, but she wasn't like super big either. And she had some dental issues or whatever. She had crooked teeth, but at the same time, like I liked her enough to be with her, but she was always just talking about how she didn't feel pretty and how she thought I was going to leave her for another girl and all of these other things. And when I tell you that, like, week after week, month after month, it just wore me down. Like, I had to get out of there because it's just like, yo, like, I'm with you, so like you should at least have confidence in that. Like, why are you always just focused on what is not even an issue to me? A lot of people get in relationships for the wrong reasons, to be self-fulfilled. But like, if I choose you, then that means that I like you as you are. And you should be confident in that. But like, that insecurity is just, it's a winless battle that just constantly just recycles and recycles and recycles and recycles. So, like, what do you think?
No, I think you're right.
Has it ever been?
Have I ever had insecurities?
I mean, everyone's been insecure. I've been insecure. I'm still insecure about some things, but has it ever been like a hindrance to your relationship?
No, I don't think so. Maybe in pregnancy, but when my hormones are raging and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it. But that's like a temporary thing. It's not like an ongoing insecurity.
All right. Number 3, top 5 reasons why you can't keep a man. Is this is a long title, but we're going to just simmer it down to just like one word. So, preconceived ideas based off of previous relationships, aka baggage. All right. So, one example of baggage might be the idea that all men are the same. My last boyfriend, he cheated on me, and all he wanted to do was get my money, and da 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 da. So all men are the same.
That can also, like, the idea that all men are the same can also give someone insecurity. They think like they were insecure in that relationship, or because they kept falling in those same traps with those men. Now they have the idea that all men are the same. They're insecure that they might think that the next man is going to be the same as well.
What are some other like baggage type things?
Well, the idea that all men are the same. So, like, my ex cheated. I might think my next boyfriend's gonna cheat.
I didn't say that.
No. Oh.
What did I say?
I don't know. I was thinking.
Or that, whatever your baggage is. So I didn't make enough money. And this is, again, this kind of falls into insecurities too. But you've got to know that with each relationship comes a new opportunity.
Yes.
If your last relationship didn't last long, doesn't mean that this new one is going to be that way. And you have the power to invest in your relationships as you see fit. But everyone isn't going to be the same. So, like, I remember a time where, a girl thought that I was going to be like every other guy, and, she would just always hold that over my head. Oh, you just like every other dude. You just like every other dude. All you want is one thing. All you want is one thing. And, I was trying my best to show her something different, but it didn't work. It didn't work. Or even in marriages, like previous relationships, even like good things, or things that you would consider to be a benefit to a relationship. My last girlfriend made this much money, so my wife needs to make this much money. Or my last girlfriend looked like this, so my new girlfriend or my new woman needs to look like that. And when you carry that baggage on and you're expecting to see the same thing in different people at different times within your relationship, then it's just bound to fail, because no one can live up to the expectations of other people. And it's just really not fair on other people to have to deal with stuff that, your insecurities, your baggage, your preconceived notions in this new relationship. All right.
No, I have nothing else to
All right. So number 4, the fourth reason why you can't keep a man is the myth of independence.
I don't need no man.
It's a myth. All right. So all you independent women, you need to stop playing that Beyonce song. Stop listening to Destiny's Child. It's good music, but you should not be taking that to heart, because there is no such thing. So I have some scripture to back that up, and we're going to go to 1 Corinthians 11. Where is it? Where are you?
Jeannie, I see your question, so we'll answer it when we're finished. We're almost done.
Let's just go to the Bible instead of just looking for it. So we're going to go to 1 Corinthians, and that's 11, 7 through 12. It said, "A man ought not to cover his head, since he is the image and glory of God, but woman is the glory of man. For man did not come from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman for man. It is this reason that a woman ought to have authority over her own head, because of the angels." So basically, like, women were created for men. If it wasn't for the fact that Adam needed a companion way back when in the Garden of Eden, like, women wouldn't even be here. And what a terrible world this would have been with just like all dudes. There would have only been one guy, because how was he going to make babies, right?
Yeah.
So, the fact that you're independent, you might be independent in some areas, but there's just some areas where you're going to need a man, right? You can't make a baby by yourself. You can't teach children.
Well, nowadays people would be like, I froze my eggs, I'll get a sperm donor.
But even still, you need the sperm of a man. Like, you're going to need a man in some capacity to do, the things that you want to do in life. You don't even, I would even argue that a woman doesn't even know how to be a woman if it weren't for a man. Because, like, how else would you know what not to do, or what would you base your actions and your being off of?
Well, I feel like girls learn from their moms, right?
They do, but they also learn from their dads too.
You're right.
You learn what kind of guy,
you don't want.
Yeah, your parents are like your first attraction, right? So there are qualities in me that your dad possesses. Like, he's definitely a super provider. He loves the Lord. He's handsome. Yeah, I would consider myself a little more handsome than her father. But just joking, Pop. I love you. You still, big daddy Walt. No, but yeah, there are a lot of, like, similarities. Women learn the guy who they're going to be with. They also know the guy who they're not going to be with, even though they might, dabble in the guy that they're not supposed to be with. So all them thugs that them girls is trying to go after.
Stop dabbling.
Nah, stop dabbling, because that's not your pops. Unless your pops was a thug, then it is what it is. But yeah, you guys need us. So this is, and it's not like you need us to pay your bills.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you might not need them financially.
You don't need us to take out the trash.
You don't
by all
to
means,
build something, you can build it yourself.
shovel your own snow. Put your own gas in your car. Get the car washed on your own. Pay for dinner. How about that? Pay for the movie. All that. Pay for your own hair and nails. By all means, do all that. However, I think the concept of independence is kind of like, if things go wrong, was like, well, I didn't need you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? As soon as like she gets in her feelings, she's like up in arms, is like, well, I didn't need him anyway. So,
but that's not why you had him. So,
what do you mean?
No, when you say like, if a female says like, I didn't need him anyway, but that's not why if she didn't need him anyway, in that aspect, like that's not why he was with her in the first place. Like that's not why they were together. Like it wasn't for financial reasons. It wasn't for she does need him in a different aspect.
Right. Yeah. So that's number 4. The myth of independence. Get it out of there. Y'all need us. All right. And then last but not least, the 5th reason why you can't keep a man is because you failed cheerleading class. And you're probably thinking about, failed cheerleading? What does that have to do? It's like, what are you talking about? All men need that support system, mm-hmm. that cheerleader, that number one fan in their corner to say hip hip hooray, go my man. And if you're not doing that, if you're not being a support to your man, he is going to find support somewhere else.
Yes.
Too many times we see on TV, on social media, in movies, and even in our own families and communities, we see women, tearing down men, exactly. And like talking to them all sorts and kinds of ways, treating them all sorts and kinds of ways. Men go, especially black men, we go through so much, and to come home and have to be,
deal with the attitude,
belittled, and not supported or complained to or compared to other dudes. Why can't you be like Steve? Steve got a job. Well, I'm looking for a job. And of course, we're not talking about the deadbeat dudes. Of course, we got to kick those guys to the curb. You shouldn't be with him anyway. But the man that's actually trying, the man that's actually putting forth the effort, the man who's actually doing his best to be the man that you want him to be, and then who God has called him to be, that's the guy we're talking about. The other scrubs, of course, they need to grow up. But there should, your words, and let's go to the word and see what the word says.
Go to the word.
We gotta go to Proverbs.
What does the word say?
And in your spare time, I definitely would go through Proverbs to see, to just read the whole book of Proverbs, because it is so filled with wisdom that you just begin to learn so much about what God expects from us, because Solomon was the wisest man ever, right? So here we go. This is what the Bible says. So this is Proverbs 31:12. She brings him, and this is talking about a wife or a woman for this point of this exercise. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. So if you are like killing him and belittling him, you're going to lose him, because the last thing a man wants to feel is worthless, unsupported, alone, right? Because God says is not good for men to be alone. Mm-hmm. And I would even add, not good for men to feel alone, because if we feel alone, then that's actually what we are. And then we're going to go all the way down to verse 26. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. All right? So all the ratchet talking and clap backing and calling dudes out their name and calling them this and that and talking all reckless to men, chill.
Think before you speak. Think before you
Exactly.
speak is huge.
If it's not building us up, or if it's not like, if you're not building us up, you're tearing us down. If you're not helping, you are hurting. And the more you make us hurt, the less and less we're going to want to be there. And if your goal was to drive men away, then keep on bumping your gums and doing some talking reckless. But women should definitely affirm their men, cheerlead them, and support them. One thing that Nakia does, which is super awesome, with me, is like any idea, you know, even if it's not fully thought out, even if it sounds crazy, or we don't have time or money to do it, her first response is always, "All right, I'm down. I'm down. Let's do it." You know, and it's just like that's what we need. When bills aren't able to get paid, because of whatever financial, whatever life situation happens. She's like, "Well, you shouldn't have bought this, and you shouldn't have bought that, and you should have did." She's not about that.
Nope.
She's like, "All right, boo. Like, all right. So what's the move? What are we gonna do? I think we should do this. I think we should do that." Ladies, I cannot stress this enough. It is so important for you to be solutions oriented with your man. Don't always leave it up to him to figure out everything. Like, as awesome as I am, you know, I sometimes get overwhelmed with being the head.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I'm just like, bro, like right now
I don't want to adult today.
yeah, I don't want to adult. I don't want to help you figure out what we're going to have for dinner today. Like, I don't want to even figure out what I'm going to have for lunch tomorrow. Whatever you make is fine. Whatever you do is fine. You know that the bill is due, pay it. You know that the car needs gas, put gas in the car. I'm not saying that that's every time, but every now and again, chip in with some decision making. It helps us out. All right? And yeah, so that's the 5 things: submission, insecurity, baggage, the myth of independence, and failing cheerleading school. All right, those are the 5 reasons why you can't keep a man as a woman. We hope that those things have helped you. If you're watching this on the playback, definitely give us some feedback, give us some questions. But now we're going to go into the chat and see what the folks is saying. Mommy needs a timeout. Did you have bring baggage into dating? How did you overcome? So we're talking about women, right? Did you bring baggage?
No, I didn't bring baggage. No, I'm talking about like in any of these specifically. What
They're talking about bringing baggage into our relationship. You didn't have things that you from the past that you.
I thought you were the same as everybody else.
I'm not. No, we're talking about just baggage. Period.
What baggage did my children? What baggage did I bring? Like, what I'm thinking is, I'm going off of our notes.
But that's not. That was an example. That's not the only baggage that people have.
Well, I don't think I brought baggage into our marriage. I mean, I brought children into our marriage.
So she definitely did bring baggage into our relationship, because she was a spoiled daddy's girl, and think that like,
I don't think of that.
Like, but that is baggage.
Oh, okay.
And that is not the worst baggage. And I have baggage too, but we'll talk about my baggage next week. But like, as far as like the car being clean, she was used to her pops taking the car to the car wash all the time, and all these different things, and like would not do it. And I would be like on some, like, what do you mean? Like, how am I supposed to do all the working, outside of the house, as far as earning income for the home, and then also have to, worry about keeping the car clean, you know. So like that was a that was a that was a problem that we had to overcome. The way that she paid bills was kind of crazy, and like how we couldn't keep a budget. I don't even. That's a very dark time in our relationship. So
it was not even that bad.
It was.
It was not that bad.
It was.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was that bad. I've been fine all these years. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And my bills been paid.
Okay. But how we overcame those things is a conversation, right? Is like I understand that this was your situation, you know, before we got together. However, in order for me to function like as best as I can, or in order for me to not to be like frustrated at this, because like cleaning the car is not like a big deal, but like, you know, it can be like OD when that's like you feel like you're doing everything, you know. And don't let you already be having like a bad day, and then you gotta wash the car because, you know, shorty didn't wash the car. Now you feel like, dang, I gotta do everything in the house. I gotta go to work. I gotta do this. And now I gotta take out, you know, because that was even before the boys got big enough to do anything, you know. So I was like really being like the man of the house. So like that was something small. But, you know, those things, small things can become big things if you don't talk about them, and if you don't, you know, have an open line of communication. You know, again, I believe that our relationship with the Lord has really helped us deal with each and every one of our issues, because, you know, it gives us perspective on like how to deal with other people.
That's all. That's all my question.
All right, so that's it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, this is season 2 of Live with Shaun and Key. Tune in next week, same time, same place, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, here on our Purefoys channel, where we're going to be talking about the 5 reasons why men can't keep a woman. And we'll be digging into my baggage, and I know Nakia is going to have a field day with this because, well, she might not. I don't know. Let me not assume anything. But we definitely are here to help. The purpose of this is to help people have a think partner, and to just, you know, share our experiences with you all, so that, you know, you can overcome it. And of course, you know, we always want to say that, you know, emphasize a relationship with the Lord helps everything. Praying together, reading the Word of the Lord, and studying, and talking to someone if you're having issues within your marriage because of some of these things, being submissive, insecurities, or baggage, or like independence, or not like being a support for your man, then you should also see someone. You know, therapy is helps us all.
And really quick, when we talk about insecurities, we don't mean insecurities. You're insecure because of something that he did. But then again, we'll talk about that next week.
But even if he did do it, you know, I'm a firm believer, like, you shouldn't let what people do affect you, right? Like, if I eat a cheeseburger, it's not going to affect you. You know what I'm saying? But even if I did something, I don't think that if I did something
so
to
if you
you
were to cheat or something, then if I'm insecure now that you cheated, I wasn't insecure before that, but if I'm insecure now that you were to cheat, like that's not connected.
I think that I wouldn't be insecure in yourself. I would be insecure in our relationship.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Oh, okay, that's what I mean. Insecure is insecure.
But it's different levels of insecure. I'm thinking insecure as in like self-worth, like how you view yourself, you know, like in that instance. Like, I was all for our relationship before you cheated, you cheated. Now I'm not too sure about the relationship. But even that doesn't have to be a
I
result
don't
of
know,
someone
or
cheating.
it could be a self thing too, because it would be like, oh well, did he cheat because of me? Like, what did I do?
But
Or
that's not his fault. Again, I didn't like. I can't make you. I can't make you think anything.
okay, I guess.
Okay.
Until next time.
So we'll unpack more of this. Hopefully, we won't have awkward moments like that it just happened just now. But yeah, we'll unpack even more of this on next week. Tune in, same time, same place. This your boy Shaun P.
And Key.
And this was Live with Shaun and Key. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you're watching this on a playback. Share us with your friends, and we will see you next week. Live, let love.
Peace.
Peace. Dun, 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 dun.